with Diversity Talk. We have candidates from the Democratic side and also from the Republican side. I will let you introduce yourself, Mr. Len Swanson.
Yes, I'm Len Swanson. I'm with CEO of the GETI Group. We are a major national veteran advocacy group, but as in that role, in that capacity, I'm also one of the Texas co-chairs for Trump, now the presumptive GOP nominee for president.
And we have another guest right here from the Democratic side.
Thank you, Sangeeta, and thank you for the invitation. I'm George Willy, a lifelong Democrat, supporter of Hillary Clinton, the next president of the United States, next woman president of the United States. And I've served on Ann Richards' administration, and I've also served as an informal advisor to President Clinton during his administration.
And our co-host, Mr. Val Thompson. Would you introduce yourself?
I'm Val Thompson. I'm president of Houston International Trade Development Council. We are a nonprofit, membership-based organization dedicated to helping small and medium enterprises develop economically in new and emerging global markets. And I'm also, we'll find out who I'm for in a minute,
yes,
right?
yes. We're going to find out in a little bit. Let me introduce myself as well. I am the founder of TV Houston, as well as I'm the executive director of media affairs with a Diversity Political Commission. And what we're going to do today is make it a little interesting. And we have these two slips right here. One says the Democrat and one says the Republican. As a co-host, we're going to pick. So next show, we could be, one could be a political Republican side, and he could be on the Democratic side, or the vice versa. So let's say who we are going to support, because we do have candidates, not candidates, but the supporters from the Trump, and we also have some supporters from the Clinton. So
let's cross my fingers.
Go ahead. Let's.
Got my fingers.
Okay, let's see.
Democrat. Wow.
Okay,
exactly
so that makes
unbelievable.
That makes me on the Republican side for today. So okay.
Well, at least you're on the right side.
We are on the right side. Oh yes, we are on the right side.
A little extreme on the right side.
There you go. Far right.
Far right. Yes. Well, we have some issues that we're going to discuss. Well, let's discuss let's say the terrorism or the radical Islam. What should we call it? I will start with Mr. Len first.
Well, terrorism, of course, we all know takes many different forms. And of course, what we have seen over the last year with what is happening because of the unraveling of Syria and disruption of Muslims around the world, and the rise of ISIS for a variety of reasons that we don't need to beat on, but we know basically failures of the Obama administration when he could have done things. But the key thing here is that, because I have lived in the Middle East, I'm well versed within the Muslim religion, there is a radical sect of basically following Sharia law that is governing a lot of the actions that we are seeing around the world, be it Paris, be it San Bernardino, now Orlando. You have different individuals, either directly as members of ISIS or sympathizers of ISIS, using that excuse to, under the guise of their faith, create these horrific acts.
Okay, on the sympathizer or the supporter, what would you say about this recent attack in Orlando?
Well, let me first say that is there terrorism in the world? Is there radical Islamic terrorism in the world? Absolutely. ISIS is clearly a radical Islamic organization. The question is, just because there are a few groups that are doing what they're doing, do we now victimize 1 billion Muslims in this world? And here in the United States, we have a very large Islamic population that are productive, that are doing things at all levels. Do we victimize them? Do we penalize them for act of some crazy folks out there in the Middle East? Now, some of that is being transported, some of that is being, enacted here in the United States. Obviously, we have to condemn that. We cannot encourage that. But what we don't remember is that ISIS currently is under constant attack from our military.
The millions of Syrians that went into Europe because they didn't vet them. Look what's going on in Europe right now with the rapes, the beating of European women, because you have a culture clash. You didn't vet, and when you bring in unemployable individuals and you don't have a means of assimilation, and there again, if you take a look as an example of what happened in Minneapolis with all the Somalis, you don't have assimilation going on.
No, but see, my question is why? Well, yes,
there's several levels of vetting.
Yes,
right.
That goes on in the United States when people come
But not
as
the way
immigrants.
Obama wants it to happen. He is talking about bringing them in regardless.
That's not true.
The point is that, yes, we do understand that we do have a Muslim community in Houston, and I'm friends with a lot of Muslim people, and I do understand that, yes, all Muslims are not bad people, but why all most of the terrorist activities are done by Muslims, but not everybody else? What is the reason for that? Is this the religion?
Just a few decades ago, Northern Ireland was wrecked by terrorism. That was not by Muslims.
Exactly.
So this is not just confined to one particular religion. It is universal. But let me.
But it's global now. But it's global now.
Letting Muslims,
global. That's the issue.
Muslims coming here. Now, if we ban, even temporarily, let's say for 2 years, 3 years.
But in today he said ban it permanently.
All the business that we do billions, trillions of dollars worth of business with the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, all of these other guys. Suddenly we are going to get frozen out it's going to be an economic disaster. Just forget the moral, forget the religious issues. Just economically, we would be devastated.
No.
We're talking about closing the $19 trillion deficit that Trump is talking about. This would increase that deficit so hugely.
Now,
well, since you just talked about the Trump...
But the bump, okay, now you said you brought it up.
Oh, we have to take a break in a few minutes, and we'll be right back.
But, okay.
Yes. As we were discussing some issues that is really, really important to us right now, and I have Mr. Len Swanson, I have Mr. George Willy, and I have Mr. Will Thompson. So I will start with Mr. Len Swanson this time. What would you say about the issue that we were discussing? And let's talk general about the two candidates, the leading candidates that we have, Mr. Trump and Hillary Clinton.
So you want to speak about Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, Hillary Clinton, by a long shot, is the better person for president.
What makes her the better person and better candidate for the president?
She has the background. She served as First Lady. She served as Senator of New York. She served as Secretary of State for this administration. Mr. Trump, for all that I can see, has only opened up casinos that have robbed people out of their money. Mr. Trump has no background.
Since this show is a non-partisan, we're not going to take anybody's sides on this show, but since I am representing the Republican side, I would like to answer that. Yes, Mr. Trump does not have the experience, as you had mentioned, Clinton has. Right. But again, he is a very shrewd businessman. He knows how to trade. He knows how to go outside and make these things done.
That doesn't give you qualification to lead this country.
Well, our country needs a different candidate at this time, because I guess I speak on behalf of all the voters that we are tired of politicians.
And if you look at what Hillary has accomplished, is nothing. I mean, if you look at her tenure as a senator, much like a lot of junior senators, they didn't do anything measurable. Even with her, because she was part of a controlled Republican Senate and that, still, as a senator, she had no measurable accomplishments. As Secretary of State, let's not even, I mean, we could really get into bone of contention because of our future. Oh yeah, she was a great Secretary of State.
Yes.
Pay for play for the Clinton Foundation is all part of the indictments that are coming out. So let's face reality. If we look at the mess that Obama and Secretary Hillary created, that is our bone of contention, and that is where Trump's stand comes, is that we need to have a more dedicated policy that protects the interests of America, and that goes into business and everything else. But more importantly, we have lost the respect in the world because of this disengagement, PC, kumbaya belief.
What does PC mean, sir?
Political correct.
You said that.
Political correct. Political correctness.
Political correctness
So did
is
we
based in
lose
respect.
the
Okay,
respect
so once you
or
lose
No, not from the Obama
then
perspective.
you are not respecting people.
Not from Obama's perspective, where he's
Yeah.
kowtowing and bowing and saying, apologizing that America
Well,
was not all
You
that.
should apologize.
Listen, I just wanted to address,
Also-
just want to address your issue about Trump being prepared to take the presidency. You know, one of the things that the United States does very well is that we train people for specific things.
Correct.
And we create experts. We create experts out of them. You know, we have great lawyers, we have great doctors, we have great engineers, we get you know, the software engineers who are creating all these wonderful things every day. And then we want to put a guy in the White House who has no training at all in politics, and politics is an extremely subtle, very sophisticated area where if you really understand politics, you find from all the way from Plato down to John Locke, I mean, these guys have written theses to understand how to run a country, how to create a society, how to have a contract. These are sophisticated areas
And there's
of
where
our life.
sophisticated CEO
But
of Trump.
let me finish.
Stallion.
Yes.
So
But
that
Mr.
means
George, right
you
now-
want to get someone who
Is
has
proven.
absolutely no. It is like putting Hillary in Trump's place and ask her to run the Trump empire.
No, but
she
we
can't
are
do that.
That's
not up
exactly the
against-
point.
She can't do
That's
that.
exactly the point. No,
No,
she
that's
can't.
not the point.
Oh, yes, it
This-
is the point.
If you think politics is not
We, the
business.
people, say it's the point. We're tired of
Politics is not
failed
business.
politicians.
Yes.
Politics
Period.
is politics. That is very extremely
It is how you
This is not
surround
we're up
yourself with
against right
expertise.
now.
sophisticated way
Oh,
of...
Trump is
Our-
very sophisticated.
Our
Very
Not
country is
in
up
this
against the
area.
He didn't get
non-normal.
where
I have
successful
not
business.
seen the
He hasn't said
sophistication
any,
you're
he hasn't
talking
given
about.
any
Well, you're
detail.
about
All
to.
I've seen-
You're
all
about to
I've-
by the team that's going to be
All
announced.
I've seen is somebody who gets up and have to pull people down to raise
No,
themselves up. That's all I've seen. out of
That
Donald
was
Trump.
that was the primaries. Now
No,
you're seeing
he's doing it right now.
Oh yeah. Did you see how he carried himself yesterday in addressing
that was
this?
very impressive.
very
Very
impressive.
Well, yeah, well,
Yes.
he's a liar too, because he gets up.
Oh, and Hillary isn't?
Well, I haven't heard anything.
Hashtag crooked?
He gets up and talk about making Mexico build a fence. Do you really think that's going to happen?
Yes.
That's the biggest lie I ever heard of.
No.
That's not going to happen.
That's what we
Watch
need.
it.
That's what
You
our
talk
country
about-
needs right now.
You talk about Trump
Yes.
being a smart guy. Explain to me how he's going to get Mexico to pay for the wall.
Please.
Please. I mean, he
Trade.
has been repeating this
Tell me.
every time
Trade.
he's been in front of a camera. Now, you tell me how he's going to pay.
Trading.
Trade.
Well, tell some more.
All right. Well, example.
How does
Be
trade
specific.
work?
Okay, be specific.
Yeah, be specific.
In oil and gas, where does Mexico send its oil and gas to be processed?
And-
It sends it here to Houston.
And so we are not going to pay them, instead we're going to walk.
Oh no, there'll be a tax. There'll be a tax for processing it and putting it back on the market.
So that tax will be passed on to the to the consumer.
No, that tax will be passed on for building the wall.
So they're going to pay. Why would they want to give the oil to us? They'll go spill it somewhere
Yeah,
else.
there's other refineries.
Why would they sell it?
Because logistically, that is why the world's oil, including the Middle East's oil, comes here to the United States, comes to the new
They will
refineries.
sell it to China. China is consuming oil like
Oh,
crazy.
now that you brought China
Why
up,
would they need
he
us?
wants to put a 35% tariff on all Chinese products. Do you know what that means?
Not all.
Well, that's what he
Chinese.
said. That's what he said.
No, not
You
all.
want to put 35%?
No. The 35% tariff was,
Are
as
you a
an example.
businessman? Are you a businessman?
Yes.
Businessmen don't pay taxes.
Excuse me, but the tariff that he was talking about was dealing with Carrier, moving its operations from Indianapolis.
No, he said all
Oh,
Chinese
no.
products.
He
did
said
all
that he was going to
imported Chinese
renegotiate the
products.
trade deals.
But the goods that come from China are built by U.S. companies
US
in
companies.
China.
Yeah.
And the U.S.
So
companies
they're
are
gonna have
leaving China to
35%?
come back here.
Oh, come on.
Okay, if he,
That's
we
not
know
gonna
that.
happen.
okay,
We
well,
know
whatever
that.
product
You
it
know
is, he
that.
put 35% tax, so who's going to pay that tax? Do you think the businessmen are going to pay it? Businessmen defer tax
Right.
to
Or
consumers.
they pass it on to the
okay?
consumer.
But see, the thing of it is
So-
he was,
so-
when you say 35%,
That's what he said. I didn't
no,
say 35%.
no, he said it in regards to carrier. He was specifically talking about HVAC
You haven't
systems.
been listening to your own candidate.
Oh, yes, I have,
He
very
said
much.
all
Not all. He
Chinese
said he was going
products.
to renegotiate
But
all the trade agreements.
let's go back to the wall.
Let's swap.
So again, how is he going to pay for it?
It's going to come through trade with Mexico.
Again, trade meaning.
There's different ways that it can be done.
See,
My
let-
suggestion
What
because
is
of
the
oil
way?
and gas.
We understand that.
Let's go back
what
to the
is
wall.
Trump's way?
Mr. George, let me
Yes.
go back to the wall issue. Okay, so there are a lot of people coming from all over the globe, coming to America to make this America great. Okay, we do work hard. We come through the legal process and everything. Do you think, do you believe all the illegal people who are in this country are taking advantages of the tax breaks, taking advantage, they're not paying taxes and everything? And,
That's not
and
true. They are
so-
paying taxes.
No, so most
No,
of
they're
them,
not.
Yes, they are.
we don't
Yes,
even
they are.
have
They're buying things. We have what we call
buying
sales tax, right?
No, but again, on their income, they are not paying any taxes.
lot of
on-
them are
because
paying
we don't
taxes.
even have the evidence if they do here or not, they live in
That's
here or
not
not.
true.
So,
That's not
But
true.
they're
no,
taking
11
advantage
million
of
of them.
Medicaid.
11 millions of
What's
them.
your question?
You know, my question is, okay, let me go back to this question of the wall. Okay, if we do build a wall, what's wrong with building a wall? If Mr. Trump, he's saying that if we build a wall and let them come in through the right process, what's wrong in doing that? Do we have a
Because-
country or not? Do we have a borders or not?
Because in all of human history, walls don't work. Eventually, both sides hate them. That's why it's not.
Well, no. It's all
Each
optics and
country
images.
have their own
And it
rules
does
and
protect
regulations.
it.
They all
Yes.
have their
I haven't
laws.
gone to the
No,
question of
there's not a wall
whether
that's
wall
been
is
built
good
to
or
take
bad.
that was my
At this
question
point,
to you.
I just want to know how you're going to pay for it.
Well, paying for it or not paying for it, that's another question. But
Okay.
we do need a wall. Do we need a wall or we don't? Do we have a country or not? Do we have our laws or not? Do we want to protect our laws or not?
To answer
Or do
your
we wanna
question,
pay
Well,
who's
for
gonna pay
all
for
these
it?
why don't we
people
build a
illegal?
wall on the Canadian border?
Canadian is
We don't
not,
have
not
the
our
issues with illegal
issues,
immigrants.
yes.
Well,
Coming
no,
from
I
Canada.
know a lot of folks that are coming in from Canada too.
That's right.
I'm an immigration lawyer.
Well, so?
I meet them all the time.
But you don't have the influx of not just the Mexicans, but all of Central America. You've got Middle Eastern people because they know that the southern border is porous and they can just come through with the coyotes' assistance.
None of the terrorists who have attacked anybody in the United States came through the border.
And-
No,
But how do you know that?
None of them
How
did.
do
But
we
they
know
were
that?
they were
Well,
stopped.
we
No, they
know
were.
How do we know
history.
that?
Because we've done
Because
this
we
on them.
shot them as they came across.
Well, no.
Oh yes, see, you got to know that what happened by Texas there at El Rado coming across the water. We did get 6 terrorists as they came across, and they were shot.
I don't think so. I don't know anything about
Mr.
it.
Well,
they're
what do you
shooting
say
people,
about this?
They're shooting people at the wall. I mean, at the,
Oh
at
yeah,
the border.
well,
Do they have a sign that says terrorism?
if you don't stop and you try to
Well, I'm
illegal
just
come
asking
into,
you, you
yes,
stop-
you shoot them. You shoot them.
So there's a sign that says there's terrorists. So
No, if you
shoot
don't, if
anybody-
you don't come and you stop and you're carrying a weapon like these guys were carrying weapons, yes,
Oh, okay.
because you have a lot of drug
Is there a lot of what?
people coming across, especially in Texas.
So no drug come from Canada.
So what do you think? If the wall is built,
Well,
there'll
at
be
this
tunnels.
point, let's
They'll
take a
build
little
tunnels
break.
under
Yes.
under the underground. And
Let's
come
take a
to the
little
town.
break and then we will
Oh,
come back
with
and
that
discuss
wall,
a little
it ain't
more.
gonna come in.
Welcome back to TV Houston Diversity Talk once again. Welcome to our show, and I'll let you know that our show is a nonpartisan. We don't take sides. So having said that, let me go back to our topic that we were discussing. We were discussing about the wall. We were discussing about the immigration, how it's coming from the Mexico or from the Canadian border. And Mr. George, you were saying something before we went to break.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, if 1,400 miles, you were saying that we are going to have to close. It's so much as, you know, it's the wall itself is not the problem, but the message that goes to Mexico. You know, Mexico is not made of everybody who's coming to the United States. We just have 11 million illegal folks here Mexican population is like about 100 and some odd million people.
But they come in
They're all
legally.
not wanting to
They
come
come in
here.
legally.
They're all not coming here. They don't want to come
The
here.
wall is not to prevent people from coming in legally, it's to prevent them from coming in
No,
illegally.
no, but one of my point is just from a standpoint of one nation and a friendly nation, Mexico, we're going to put this wall, and then it's like, you know, closing them out of the United States. That message, I think, is more damaging than just
It's the
having
optics
the wall.
of that we are taking a stand against
Well,
illegals.
But I think that sends the wrong message
Well, I
that we are closing out 100 some odd million people.
If they come in legally, what's the
No, no, what I'm
difference?
saying,
What's,
no,
yeah, what's the
basically
problem
we're
with
saying-
having them come
They come in legally.
into
We
the
are
country?
saying, listen, we don't like you, we don't want you. That's a bad message.
We don't want illegals coming in,
No,
period.
but listen, we have enough technology, which is currently being implemented on the border, that can detect motion, that can pick up, that can inform the border.
How's that
patrol
working
force.
right now?
Well,
How's that working?
Right
But
now, it's not
still,
working.
It's not working.
having said that, why they have to come in illegally anyway? What's wrong with coming legally and coming inside the country with the papers?
Because
There
we
is
brought
nothing wrong
them,
with
we brought
that.
them in here. to do
Poorest
all
of the
work that I
poorest,
wanted to do.
poorest
That's
of the
how-
poorest
that's
are
why
coming.
That-
They can't come legally. They can't afford it. They don't have the skills.
So then why should they come in
I don't-
then?
But that's their.
Why should it be on our backs then? Why should we allow it?
Because you've hired
Listen,
them
I
on
promise
ranches.
you that if you took the
My
11
parents came in legally.
I understand.
And-
But
and
in
yours did
11
too.
Legally.
I came legally, so
Yeah.
I
There
you go.
don't have a problem. But here's the point. If,
That is the point.
if you send the 11 million people,
We're not sending
tomorrow-
we're not sending 11 million people.
I thought
But
no,
statistics
no,
says
from-
that.
No.
How many does he want to send now?
No, they will be processed. Right now, we're not processing anybody. You will have an option to stay here, but legally, all right? But you're gonna have to, you may go back and come back in legally.
So I'm talking about 11
So
million people.
how do you find who is illegal? You look around for Mexican people? You
No.
what do you do?
That is done like it's supposed to be done, but it's not being
And how is
administered.
it supposed to be done?
But here's the other point.
How was your employers who were held responsible
Well-
and I dealing with the I-9s and your W-2s? That is through the employment
Len, the
process.
other
Well,
problem is
statistics
40% of the
also
folks who
shows
are
that.
illegally here came legally and overstayed.
Sure,
What are you going to do with them?
same thing.
You're going to send them to Mexico?
Well,
No.
if they have become
are you
illegal,
gonna do?
they
Hey,
need
wait a
to go
minute.
back and come
wait a
back
minute.
again.
Let's also address that when you're talking about those that have overstayed their tourist visas and that, it's not just the Mexicans. And the Mexicans is just one portion of it.
Right.
It is,
But you're talking about
Oh,
the wall.
but the wall
no,
is
the wall is
Mexico.
because that's where they come from. But you can look at the illegals that are coming in right now. Are they basically Mexican? No, they're coming from Central America. All right, the coyotes are bringing them up because they know that they can get them through. Look at the prices that they're charging for these people. So it ain't a matter that they can't afford it. It is their way of getting in because they know that once they're in, because of how Obama has got it, they're getting free medical, they're getting to stay, and even once they're processed, because the immigration courts are so backed up, they're almost assured of staying here because what are they doing? They're releasing them on their own recognizance, and then they get absorbed into the bar. So the thing of it is there is, just like when we're talking about bringing in the Syrians or anybody else, there is no immigration policy that is vetting. And that is what we're angry about, is that it ain't that, because most of us, I'm second generation. My parents immigrated from Norway, all right? We came in here legally, all right? We became assimilated into this culture and became part of the backbone, like it has been done as a melting pot of which America stands for.
But I don't think the Vikings came here legally.
Oh, yes,
Right.
we did. That was before there was even a country, because remember, we came here in the 800s before Columbus. So, I mean, and that's because we're a special breed anyways.
Okay.
But the point of it is, you know, a lot of what we're talking about, you're going to see as we roll out of our convention. Trump is, as a qualified CEO, as any good CEO does.
Your contested convention.
No, we don't have a contested.
Yeah.
Democrats have a contested
Absolutely.
convention.
No.
There is no contested
No.
convention. Anyways,
Go ahead.
he has already assumed that mantle, and the GOP's embraced him of that. Do we have?
No, he hasn't. Not all of them.
We don't care. We don't care.
Half the GOP is not for
Let
Donald
me
Trump.
go back to something I said earlier.
Right.
Running a country, a lot has to do with the economics. Okay?
Right.
However, the economics of running a country and a whole of other things that you have to look after in a country, in a society, in a nation, those are different from running a company.
Not really. Not today's companies.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
If you think running a country and running a company are one and the same thing, you're totally mistaken.
I've been part of our nation's government. I know the difference. I was with DOD. I understand what it takes. I have been part of the system on both sides of the equation. But what Trump brings to the table is the ability to bring the best minds together for each of the cabinet positions. When you see what we roll out as far as our vice president pick, our cabinet picks, you're going to see, just like a good CEO, he surrounds himself with the best minds and capabilities.
There is a difference between
a successful businessman does not have to have the entire education or intellect to do it himself.
There is
he hires the best people around, and that's I think what the Trump is going to do. Hire the best candidates.
So mathematician knows all about numbers, but the engineer knows how to put that into.
Well, I think Trump in building a $10 billion industry and what he's done. I mean, you can go on about the failed casinos and everything else. He is built a very powerful success.
You fail or you win.
Really suspect. We don't know really how he runs them. We have no evidence of how we have not seen his tax returns.
The
refusing to release. Why can't we look at the tax returns?
Yes, he is.
Then we will know what kind of a business.
Now, like I said, when you see I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, when you see the caliber of the men and the women that he is bringing out to run the various different cabinet positions, you're going to see a more qualified team that this nation has ever seen, because we're not dealing from a politicianal standpoint. We're bringing in other qualified talents to run those different divisions, just like you do in a corporation. You bring in the right talent to be successful. He did not.
I've only seen beauty queens around him. So I'll be glad when.
Well, that time he was not a candidate, and he was not running
July
for
18th through the 21st, you're going to see something that's just going to blow your mind.
Lynn, a businessman is driven by profit. Okay. Government is
measurable
not
results.
Profit.
He's
It's
measured.
not
No. A businessman is run also not just by pure profit.
I'm a businessman.
Well, so am I. But by measurable results. Do we have measurable results from the Democrats at this point in time? From Obama? Do you have measurable results?
Absolutely. Obama.
Show me. Tell me what measuring.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. Okay.
This is a great country.
I know it's a great country.
This narrative that the United States is down and we got to, make America great again, is just a bad narrative. It's not really true. That's just something Trump is running around talking.
No. The facts are the facts. I mean, look at our GMP.
When have you traveled lately?
Huh?
When have you traveled lately and saw how the other world lives? You don't want to live there. You want to live here. This is a great country.
Well, I agree, because I have lived overseas.
Okay,
I spent 20 years overseas.
Why does this country need to be great again? What are you talking about when you're saying great again? Are you talking about the 1950s?
No.
Because I don't want to go to the 1950s.
No.
That's what
it is about not kowtowing to the world and apologizing for what.
So let's talk about.
We're talking about Obama bowing to and saying how about. Oh, really? He didn't bow to the Saudis. He didn't bow to the Chinese.
Obama has killed more terrorists than anybody else.
It's going to be great again.
Obama had killed more terrorists than anybody else.
What period are we looking at? Now we are in 2016, right? 21st century. So let's go back and say what part of the history of the U.S. does Trump want to go back to?
Yes.
He doesn't want to go back. He wants to go forward.
No.
Yeah, he says that.
No, he's not talking. He's never talked about going back.
But he says great again.
Great again from the standpoint of having respect and control and growth.
When did that happen? When did that happen?
It hasn't happened since Obama.
So then why does he say again?
I think what he's talking
He's
about
talking
is,
about for the future of growth.
Again, it's not
Again.
future.
no, let me answer that. But I think what he's talking about, let's make the America great again, is how America was built and put together in the first place. How we were respecting each other,
So
and
that's what
how
I say,
we were like coming in
200 odd
legally
years
and
we
then
have
following the
our
process
history.
and following the laws.
Which part of that history does he want to go back to?
Yes.
It's not, this is where the Democrats are failing to understand. We're not talking about going back. We are talking about going forward. We're talking about removing a lot of the political correctness that is crippling us, handcuffing us, and more importantly, not allowing us to be the nation that we once were.
Political correctness is civilization.
No, not when you deny God. When you deny God as our
because
cornerstone.
100 years ago, we said horrible things to each other.
Right.
We evolved, we got civilized, we don't
Correct.
say the things that we don't say things to women that we used to say. We didn't say to homosexuals
And we're
that we
not
used to
talking
say.
about that.
That
That
is
we agree on.
political correctness. That's civilization.
Well, what are you talking about?
That is civilization.
What are you
Len.
talking about when you say political correctness?
Political correctness is civilization.
From my standpoint, and the way Trump sees a lot of things too, from political correctness, is that we don't minimize who we are. We are Christians. We're a nation under God.
We are Christians.
Not under
on.
Allah.
No,
Len, we are not
Democrats.
No, our
Christian.
cornerstone is God.
Listen, when the Constitution, when Jefferson and the founders formed their Constitution, wrote the Second Amendment, the First Amendment of religious freedom, they were running away from Europe for the same reason, because they were trying
To worship as they saw fit.
Yeah, so
But
tonight,
we
we're
were,
not a Christian
understand,
nation.
there again, the cornerstone
We are not a
is-
Christian nation.
Wait,
I
wait
don't
a
know where
minute.
you got that from.
Really? We were a Christian nation
We were
under God.
We never were.
We were
Because the
always a nation under God.
Constitution protected religious
Well,
freedom.
we wanted
And so
other
the First
people to come
Amendment-
here, but it's still under God, period.
Under God, of course. God is not Christian.
But it's denied. We cannot say Merry Christmas. You cannot say.
Of course you can say that.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot.
Where do you get this
The
from?
ACL prevents us from being who we were as a nation from the beginning.
But saying that that this country is a Christian country, that's a dangerous business.
No,
Because
it's
you
not.
know what?
It is the truth.
Well, listen,
We are
listen.
tolerable. No, you're talking They're talking two different things. You're talking tolerance, yes. Are we a tolerant nation?
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Are
Wait
we
a minute.
accepting?
Because you're
But we
Christian,
are a
therefore you're
nation
going to
under
tolerate
God.
other religions. That's not what the
Our
Constitution
cornerstone
says.
is under God.
The Constitution
Really?
gives equal right to all religions. There is no dominant religion that looks upon other religions in a tolerant way. That's not the way the Constitution was written. Besides, those who came here, the Quakers, and all of the other sects from Europe, they hated the English church
But it
because they
wasn't
were
just
persecuted.
English. Wait a minute. You're talking about Norwegians, everybody else. We weren't part of the English
Wait,
church.
No, I'm talking about the initial.
But we were under God.
You're talking
yes,
about the founders.
We can discuss a little
Yeah.
more when we come back after the break.
Right.
Okay, welcome back to TV Houston's Diversity Talk Show. We're going to get back to some of the issues that we spoke about earlier. First of all, Lynn, I want to address one thing before we go to another topic, and that is, I need to know how you plan, or you and your group with Donald Trump, plan to deport 12 million Mexicans, as he called them. How do you plan to do that? Give me a specific plan on deporting 12 million people out of this country.
You don't deport them. We're not talking about deportation. We're talking about processing them. They will have.
So that's a roundup.
Well, let's put it this way. What did Eisenhower do? What did everybody else do in previous administrations when we had this issue?
Which they actually apologized for later. You talking about rounding up the Japanese people during World War II?
No. I'm talking about the illegal Mexicans. We deported 3 million illegal Mexicans under Eisenhower.
He's the one who
Okay.
called them wetbacks.
Well,
Roughly.
whatever. But I'm just saying, at this point in time, we're not talking about deportation.
Well, you're talking about
We're
roundup then. So you got to go through a process of rounding people
Well,
up.
it ain't a matter of having to round them up. that we know where everybody knows where they're at.
I don't know where they are.
Well, they pretty much, if they're part of the system and working, if they're going to work legally.
I see Mexican people all the time.
First of all,
I don't know if
you take away, if they are not here legally, then they don't have access to Medicare, and they don't have access to a lot of the free services that they're currently receiving now.
They're not receiving any free
Oh,
services.
yes, they are. What nation are you living in?
They check your, you know, if I went to get any medical help, they're going to ask for my insurance, they're going to ask for my driver's license.
No. Obviously, you don't understand American medical. We cannot deny medical treatment at any of the hospitals. All right? You come into the emergency room,
you can go to
have
the
to be treated.
top and you can get a service.
For the emergency, now I'll tell you a story. I know a gentleman, a Mexican gentleman, who needed a heart surgery. He couldn't get it. The family sent him to Mexico. He died there. He was 42 years old. This is a myth that they get medical help because they don't.
No.
They
the thing
don't.
Is that the issue
they
is...
can get emergency help. I agree with that.
You can get all kind of medical services and schooling and everything else. That is allowed.
American humanitarianism.
Well, and that's we're not saying that we're not human. What we're saying is, if you want to be here, then do it legally. They're saying you can go back and you can process back in as a green card, all right, legally, and then be part of the system. Are you going to round up and just bust 11 million illegals? And it's not just Mexicans.
So
no,
you're talking about amnesty then.
No, you're not talking amnesty.
Of course, you're going to give them green card, right?
If they come back legally.
And if they legally meaning...
But they have to come back
legally, right?
They have to go back to their nation of origin and then come back in legally.
How do you mean you're going to give them a special status to come back?
They're going to have to follow
the same process.
You know how long that takes? 20 years.
Not
for them to come back.
No, not to come back in under work.
I'm an immigration lawyer, I know.
What about
it takes 20 years for them to process.
We're not talking H1, we're talking about...
No, I'm talking green card, right?
Yeah.
You're talking with me,
Well, where are you coming in on a work visa, and then you process to become an American citizen.
There are no work visas available.
Well, maybe that's not something that's going to happen.
No.
What about the families that were born here? You know, like the kids that were born here, they're now American citizens, they were born here. What do you do about that? You're going to break families up in order to deport some because they're illegal, but now they have maybe 7 or 8 members of their family that are Americans. What do you do about that, Lynn?
Well, gee, had they come in legally, that wouldn't be an issue. It is an issue for us that they came in illegal, and now just because they're now here because they're illegal, they're supposed to be given special status. They're supposed to be awarded to stay here. I don't think so.
14th Amendment says that if you're born here,
we're not talking about sending their kids back if you're born here.
Well,
okay, let me ask you this question. I understand your question, and we will answer that. But let me ask you another one.
Yeah.
If the one child was born in the United States, okay, through the illegal system that came in, or his father or his parents were coming as an illegal immigrant, and he was born here, okay? So that person commits a crime. Who is responsible for that crime? And how are we going to find out who committed the crime? Because he's totally undocumented. So we have no way of finding that person. We have no way of prosecuting that person.
Or are you talking about the parents?
The child.
Child is a citizen.
Oh, they're citizens. They're citizens. They
have
a birth certificate.
They have the birth certificate of this country, but the father or the mother I'm talking about, the child is definitely documented, but the parents are not documented. And you're saying that we don't have to send them back. Okay, but if they commit a crime...
Instead, what you do is you give them a temporary status. They will then come forward. They will be identified. We'll know who they are, what they do, where they are. So that's the best way to get this done.
So we are encouraging everybody to come in illegally and then gain the citizenship
before you do
later on? Is that what we are encouraging?
One thing, Len, I'll agree with you. That before we take care of...
We got one agreement, yes.
Take care of the 11 million people before we give them some temporary status and then make sure that we don't split the families. One thing we have to make sure is that we must take care of the borders. We must make sure that there are no more illegal aliens walking through the borders. That I agree.
And that's where the wall is.
So that's the second thing you agree
to the wall.
We don't have to
building the wall.
We don't have to build a wall for it. No. There are other ways to do it. Well, I agree
how's
with
that working?
We can't have an
not
open
working.
border and try to reform immigration. That I
But
agree.
the other ways are already been there. Obviously, those are not working. That's why
But walls
we
don't
need to
work
build
either.
the wall.
Walls don't work. I mean, history proves that walls do not work.
Well, trust me, the walls
Well,
that we're
People
going to build
jump
are
over
gonna
walls,
work.
they go under walls.
Trust me, the walls
And
that we're
It's
building
going to be
will
very,
work.
very
You know
high.
You got a
The
wall.
is gonna
How
be
happy
so
we
high.
were when the Berlin Wall came down.
Yes.
How happy
And how
we were.
frustrated-
And we are trying
This
to build
ain't a-
another one.
No,
Wait a
we're
minute,
building,
on, guys.
we are
Come
building
on,
a
guys.
wall
No,
that
listen.
prevents
No,
criminals
Lynn,
from
and
coming
Lynn,
in.
Criminals
Lynn,
from
listen to me.
coming.
And how frustrated the Israelis are and the Palestinians are because they have a wall between each other.
Well, guess what?
It
Is
does
the
not
Israeli
work,
wall
man.
working for them? Yes, it is.
No, it's not. They're
I don't
both,
think
they're
so.
frustrated
No,
on
no.
they're shooting rockets back and forth. to
Well,
each other.
sure, but
It's
their
the
wall
most
keeps them
miserable
from
place to
coming
live
in.
But it's a very miserable place to live.
Well, I understand that.
We
I've been
cannot
there.
build
I've
a
been
wall.
there. I
If
understand that.
Trump builds the wall,
Yes.
Reagan will say, bring down that wall, Mr. Trump.
Mr. George,
From the grave.
Mr. George, do you own a home?
I do.
Okay. You have a wall.
I do.
You have a border.
Yes.
You have a boundary.
Yes.
Do you have neighbors living next to you
Yes.
too as well? Are you friendly with them?
Of course I am.
Both sides, right? I mean, I'm sure if they're both sides. But you still have a wall, you still have a border.
But it's
and
not
that's
political.
exactly what
It's
the
not
Trump is
political.
talking about, that we do need a wall. We need to be friendly with our neighbors. At the same time, we need to protect ourselves from
Our
illegal
borders need
immigrants
to be
come
respected,
in.
and they're not respected.
Yes.
That's the key
You're
issue.
speaking of a political boundary. You know,
That is-
that's not a good comparison.
Well, it's the
1,400
same
miles
scenario.
of wall to separate two countries.
No.
A friendly country, and out of
But
all the
we're
millions
not
of people who
talking
live
just
there,
Mexico. We're not
all the
talking just
millions
Mexico.
of people that live there, we have a fraction of them coming here, and we want
Well,
to build
come
a
in
wall to
legally,
separate.
and they do. They come in
I'm
legally
not
and do
sure that
business
that's
here.
a good.
But see, the thing of it is, you
message.
keep talking
I don't
about
think
Mexico.
It's a good message to the world.
If you take a look at the immigrants that have been coming in this last year, they're not Mexicans.
Mhm.
All right?
Yeah, they're coming from
Central
Guatemala,
America
yeah.
and many other nations. It's not. Mexico is a conduit because our border is porous.
Right.
All right? They're being illegally brought in with coyotes that know how to circumvent the so-called electronic systems.
But many of them are fleeing violence too.
Well, that's not the issue. Then come in legally. Why, just because you're feeling violence, are we supposed to just allow you in unvetted?
Wait a minute. There's one other point.
That is the point.
No.
It is the point.
Kids that came from Central America, they came to the border and they did not enter the country illegally. They declared asylum. They declared refugee status.
Once they
That is
entered illegally.
perfectly legal. That is
Once they
perfectly
got in
legal.
illegal.
Right.
They
In the
were,
United
once they
States.
got across the border, they did that.
No.
We
At the
have
border.
legal, we
At
have
the border,
illegals.
Yes.
they declared themselves refugees, and that is a very legal way to seek asylum.
But if you look at all those children that were coming in on the Texas side, they were smuggled in by coyotes.
Of course they were
did not.
smuggled in.
Okay, they did not come in through the border crossings and then declare.
No. They came to the border. The coyotes brought them, and then at the border they declared.
Once they got into the cities, they declared their status.
No,
'Cause
they
were
declared at
captured
the
by
border,
ISIS.
which is perfectly legal.
Well, I have one thing to say about it. If we do not support Trump right now and we do not build the borders at this point, do we want the same thing that's happening to Europe? Is that what we're looking forward to? Is that the kind
How
of
are you
thing
going to
we're doing?
how are you
Trump
going to
is
stop
in-
what's happening? in Europe?
Terrorism? How are we
Trump
going
is
to stop the
inciting-
terrorism?
No. Oh, wait a
that
minute.
will happen.
Oh,
Trump
okay.
is inciting.
So what you're saying is Trump is the
every,
reason.
Every rally Trump has.
Oh,
there's
wait a
folks-
minute.
there's
I thought-
thousands
Trump is
of
not the
people
reason for
outside.
That is not what
terrorism?
Sangeeta said.
No, I'm just saying.
No,
You just talked- no, okay, I know what you're saying.
You
We
just said-
have
No,
to
what is happening in Europe?
strengthen the borders. We have
Trump
to
is
really...
going to create
No.
that here.
No,
What
wait a minute,
happened
in Europe?
in Europe?
How can you build a wall in Europe?
There
No,
is no
we're not
wall.
talking about the wall. We're
Okay.
talking about if
Allowing
we do
all
not,
those people to come
If you
in.
don't, no, there's no wall. So I mean,
But look at the
Well,
issues that they've got because they
the
weren't
issue-
vetted.
issues we're
is-
talking about.
listen, the Middle East is in a mess. So people are leaving troubled places. What can we do? We can ease the pain. We can ease the situation.
Well, how's that working in
Well,
Europe?
Wait.
Tell me how that's working.
I think we have to think outside the box.
Oh, really?
Trump says he can think out of the box. He needs to think
Oh,
about
really?
something.
Tell that to Sweden, tell that to Finland, tell that to Denmark, tell that to Paris, tell that to Germany, in which you're going to see something very visceral happen this fall because
Exactly.
of all the concentration that's happening by an unvetted populace that was brought in that won't assimilate.
Then go
into
tell
the
that to
cultures.
the Jewish community that ran away from Hitler, ran away from
Right.
all these other countries and came to the U.S., came to Europe.
Right,
and
right.
we
but
embraced them.
That was
and
different.
Look what
that
they have
is
done.
different. Well, wait a minute. Okay, so what we're saying is,
refugees are always going to be with us.
Okay.
There are going to be trouble.
there is
places.
a difference. If you take a look at what makes up this group of Syrians, as an example, you look at the age group. All right, the primary age group is young males.
Yes.
For the most part. We're not talking the women and children. That is a different group, and yes, they can be properly vetted in time. But you don't bring them in carte blanche like they did in Europe.
I agree with you 100%, and I agree with you 100%. Our program, Diversity Talk, is once again, it's non-partisan. So we were just discussing, and we will have another show next week, Wednesday, from 7:30 to 8:30. Look forward to that, and we will be discussing more issues on the same topic.